Hello beautiful glam girls, welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is going to be a get ready with me. Hello beautiful glam girls, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're here because you want to know all about Instagram shadow banning, you've come to the right place. So I'm going to be talking about that while I get ready, and I have trouble doing my makeup and talking to you guys at the same time, but I'm going to try, and I will try to leave the products in the description as well. That way if I don't mention it or I skip past it too quickly, it will be in the description in the order that it was used. So it'll be like moisturizer, primer, foundation, concealer. That way if you skip on something or you miss something, it will be in the description box. As well as if you're new to my channel, I have a ton of makeup tutorials where you can go and check out step by step, more in-depth makeup tutorials. This one will be more of a get ready with me while I chat with you guys. Now that that's out of the way, also this robe is from Fashion Nova. It's a really nice long silky robe. Into the video because I will keep chatting. I'm using the MAC Strobe cream religiously for the last couple months during this winter time. So basically this whole issue of shadow banning came up because I was noticing when I was in Philadelphia for Thanksgiving. So literally it was the night before Thanksgiving, I noticed my following on Instagram was not growing, and I was losing a lot of followers, but I was losing so many and not gaining enough that my following was staying the same, if that makes sense. So for example, like I was at like 196,000 and 150 or something like that, right? And normally when I don't really look at my following ever, but I don't tend to look at the number because it'll drive you crazy, and you don't want to get so consumed with numbers that you forget what's really important. And I feel like if you're genuine, if you're yourself, if you care about what you do, if you're consistent, it will just happen organically, right? So I don't look at my numbers that often, but I took notice of the number and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But then I noticed that it wasn't growing at all. I'm using the Tarte CC Colored Clay Primer. I've been using primer lately because I've noticed a lot of the shadow palettes that came out this year have been so pigmented that there's a lot of fallout. I think I'm gonna set that with a little bit of powder. So I was noticing day after day after day that the number was not growing. It was actually decreasing. And then by that Sunday when I had my Friendsgiving, so Thanksgiving was Thursday, right? So by Sunday I noticed that the number had gone down by like 150 and it was not growing. I also started to notice that my impressions were way down, and your impressions is in your analytics and your Instagram account. So when you look at your impressions, that's telling you how many unique accounts are seeing your account, how many views your account is getting, like you know, basically how often people who don't follow you are seeing your account, and that will equal new followers. Mine was down by 500,000, and now normally my impressions are up by over 1 million, and they were down by 500,000. Everything was down in my impressions. I wasn't getting any followers. And then the funny thing was that my YouTube account was growing. I kept getting subscribers. My views were going up. My last vlog, you guys, the Vegas and LA vlog, if you haven't checked it out, it will be in the cards for you to check out. That video has over 200,000 views, way more than my subscriber count. My pictures on Instagram were getting a ton of likes, a ton of comments. Everything was doing well except the numbers. But my YouTube, I was getting followers and subscribers and all that, and I'm thinking, okay, so then maybe because my YouTube is gaining, my Instagram is losing, like maybe I'm just having a bad luck right now. And I was like, no, this doesn't make sense. This went on for like a week. I wasn't gaining anything. I just kept losing and losing, and I was gaining, but the point is I was losing so much and not gaining enough that my account was just staying the same. I'm gonna use the Mineral Veil Primer by Hourglass because I'm going to an Hourglass makeup event tonight. So I just figured I'd put a little bit of Hourglass products in my makeup routine. Just to fill in my pores a little bit more, I'm going to use the Milk Makeup Blur Sticks. Your pores, literally, you just rub it in My neighbor is like screaming, and wherever he's standing, I literally can hear him through the wall, because my beauty desk is right above, right next to the wall. Like this right here is his wall, right here, and wherever he is screaming, I literally can hear him. It's so funny. I'm gonna go in with foundation. I'm using the Givenchy Velvet Radiant Fluid Foundation with sunscreen. This has an SPF of 20. And I'm trying this. This is the second time I'm trying this. It's a little too dark for me. So I'm going to be mixing it with a lighter color. I'm going to mix that with some lighter colors. So I have the Givenchy foundation here. I'm gonna add in some of the BECCA Full Coverage Complexion Cream. I'm using some of the light shades. Oh yeah, like I was saying, my numbers were just not increasing, and so I was kind of like, okay, I don't think it's me. Like at first my fiance was like, oh, maybe Instagram is like getting rid of bots, or they're doing like an overhaul. But normally when that happens, people talk about it. Like people will be complaining. You'll see in your timeline, you'll see on social media, people will be complaining that their following is not growing, or they're losing followers. Like people don't just stay quiet, and no one was talking about this. So I'm like, damn, maybe it's just me. Like maybe, you know, and that's kind of embarrassing. Like I know it's stupid, but you know, you don't want your haters to know that you're sweating over losing some followers, you know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know, I'll give it a few more days. But after a week, I was like, no, something is going on. So in my story, I posted, you know, is anyone else experiencing problems with their Instagram, blah, blah, blah. When I tell you, so many of my Instagram blogger friends or model friends, they were all saying the same thing, and everyone was kind of scared, I guess, of sharing that, yeah, they were going through it too. So they were like, yeah, I'm losing followers, my engagement is not there, like I don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Now my engagement was okay. Like I said, like I was getting a lot of likes, a lot of comments, but the following wasn't there. I wasn't showing up in people's explore. I just knew something was wrong, because not to be like conceited, but this is the way it works. When you have a lot of followers, it's already kind of easy for you to gain followers. It's the beginning, trying to gain, that's hard. But once you hit 20, 30, once you hit like 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000, like at that point your account just really starts to snowball, because now you've already got the ball moving. So for me at 196,000, when I go to see my Instagram, I'm always seeing followers gained. I'll show you guys. So I'm gonna open Instagram. Okay, you see that popped up? I gained 11 followers. Now that's not like a lot, but think about that. 11 followers just from me opening. My feet looks good. Just from me opening my account right now, right? If I close it in half an hour again, I might see 10 followers again, 11. So if that happens every hour, think about that. If I check my Instagram 6 times a day and I gained 10 followers on average every time I opened it, that was 60 followers in maybe 6 hours. So on average, if I'm gaining 100 followers a day, right? Let's say that's 100 followers a day times 7 days. That's 700 followers a week times 4. That's 2,800 a month. Now, so my point is, if that's 2,800 in a month on, let's say, just randomly for the numbers that I just did right there, then that means that every time I open my Instagram, I should be seeing followers gained, right? So for this whole week, every single time I would open my Instagram, I wouldn't see any followers gained. It was only likes. And like I said, they were liking and commenting, but nobody was like, I wasn't getting new followers. So I'm like, okay. So I started doing research, starting to see, like, I'm trying to find if Instagram has mentioned this, because Instagram will post on their blog, or you know, on their Instagram page, or even in the app, you will see that they will post like known problems that they're having at the moment, so people can figure out if it's happening to just them, or you know, whatever the problem is that they're having in the moment. So for concealer, I'm gonna go in with the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, and then I'm gonna mix that with the Tarte Shape Tape. I wasn't finding any information about there being any problems in the moment with Instagram. And I was like, okay, so I'm confused. So like I said, I was asking my friends and followers and stuff. My followers were telling me that when they were checking my Instagram story, they were having technical difficulties. So I'm trying to do all this research, and I come across shadow banning. So shadow banning is literally basically Instagram banning your post from showing up in the hashtags that you're tagging your photos in. So they're not really banning you from posting, they're not banning you from commenting. It's a way for them to, I guess, weed out accounts that they think are spam, even though you're not spam. And I had noticed, like, for the last couple months, every time I would try to comment back, like, multiple times on my, even on my own page, I would try to comment back to my followers, and I would get blocked from commenting back if I commented more than like 15 times in a row. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette in medium. So I would get blocked from commenting back to my followers. I would get blocked from liking too many photos, or too many comments. Like, even my own comments, I wouldn't be able to like them. So I'm like, okay, well, I thought this was just Instagram's way of like cracking down on spam or whatever, but it's like, it's not spam if it's my own page. Like, how am I getting like flagged for liking my own comments? Like, that makes no sense. But fine, that went on for a while. I didn't think anything of it. I thought, oh, it's just like a little, you know, I guess cautionary thing that they're doing to prevent spam, because they can't tell like that it's your page, they just see it as spam. But I found this thing about shadow banning where basically, like I said, they ban your photo from showing up in hashtags. So I'm like, I don't really use hashtags like that, but if you're getting reposted by other pages and that's driving attention to your page, so if I post a picture and then another plus size page that has 400,000 followers reposts it and they tag me in the photo and they use hashtags, those hashtags are helping those people that those hashtags are still driving traffic to my page as well, because I'm tagged in the photo. And even if I have hashtags, like old hashtags in my on my old photos from like last year, those hashtags could still possibly be driving attention to my page. But as of recently, I did start using them again once in a while. I found a website that basically says you can test if you've been shadow banned. So I put in one of my photos that had hashtags in it, and it said that I was shadow banned. It said that my photos weren't showing up in any of the hashtags that I put on my photo. For example, plus size model, BBW, plus size fashion, things like that. My photos were not showing up in those hashtags. So when you go to plus size model, you'll see everyone else and not yourself. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, why am I not showing up? So then I started looking up different hashtags, because I found another article that said that it's not only your photos that are being banned, it's also the hashtags themselves. So this article was saying that the words themselves were being banned. I found out that the way you can tell if a hashtag has been banned is that when you go to look up the hashtag, you'll see that there's no top posts. So when you go to Instagram, right, and you go look up something, like let's say you want to look up tags, style, right, or fashion or something. When you look up hashtag style, what are you gonna see? You're gonna see top posts, and you're gonna, so these are the top posts that have the most likes or whatever, the most engagement, and then you're gonna see every single post, right? And you can keep going and going and going and going. You can watch the story for style here, right? But if you look up something that's shadow banned, for example, BBW, which is currently one of the hashtags that is shadow banned, there are no top posts. There's nothing. This is it. And what does it say at the bottom? I don't know if you guys can read that, but right here it has a little message. It says, recent posts from hashtag BBW are currently hidden because the community has reported some content that may not meet Instagram community guidelines. That was my first inclination that something was going on. Well, not my first, but it was like kind of was solidified my feelings that something was wrong. I was like, okay. I kept putting things together. I was like, what? So then if you look up plus size model is not shadow banned. You can see there's top posts, there's the story. You have that line here that separates the top post with the regular post. And again, you can see all of the posts. Notice that BBW is shadow banned. So if your post is under BBW, you get shadow banned because now you're correlated with a hashtag that is seen as inappropriate or spam or whatever. So I'm like, and then I read, like I said before, that if your old photos have those hashtags on them that are shadow banned, it can possibly mess up your account. So I went and I tried using some of those hashtags, and I tried looking up some of my old photos that had those hashtags, BBW, plus size model, plus size fashion, whatever I thought maybe was part of the problem. I'm using some of the yellow to just brighten up under my eye. I'm doing like a really full glam right now. I don't know why. I normally don't even wear this much makeup. So I read that even if you have old photos that have those hashtags on them, that they're still being detected, and it can possibly lead your post to be shadow banned. So I went and I tried to delete as much of those hashtags from my old photos as possible. It was so difficult. I only got to maybe like 20 posts because like it's difficult to get to everything. So I did that, and I started using different hashtags on my photos, nothing that were the same. I read some articles saying that if you use the same hashtags over and over again, they also think that that's spam, so you have to constantly change it up. So I removed all the old hashtags and started using different ones, things that correlated to my you know, photos. So if it's like a sequin dress, I hashtag sequin, dress, style, fashion, dressed up, special occasion, outfit, you know, different things that weren't just having to do with plus size. Okay, so while that is setting and baking, we're gonna go and do some eyes. Yeah, so I'm gonna do like a really standard, basic, sexy, smoky. I want really smoky and gold. I'm using the Natasha Denona Star Palette. I think I'm gonna use this gold color today because what I did was to try to fix it. Like I said, I went and I tested my account to see if I was shadow banned, and I was. So I went to the Instagram help area, and I sent them a message that said, I'm shadow banned, you know, can you help me? Another thing I did was to test my theory. I paid for promotion. So Instagram has this ability, because you know Instagram or Facebook bought Instagram, so it's the same kind of thing that you can do on Facebook, where you pay, you know, a certain amount and they promote your Instagram page or whatever on people's timelines. So I paid for that. I think I paid like $5 just to see if it would help, if maybe there was something wrong with my page, or if it was Instagram. So I paid for that, and it did nothing. It did nothing at all. I was so like confused. My post was supposed to reach like 4,000 to 6,000 people, and it reached like 1,000. So I was like, okay, either they're scamming me or something is wrong. So when my promotion was done, they asked, like, you know, to give like a review or whatever of how the promotion worked out, if I liked it. And I was like, no, I would not do this again. You shadow banned me and I paid for promo and it didn't work because I'm shadow banned. So no one reached back out to me when I said that, but I noticed in the next 2 days that my account activity kind of resumed. My impressions started going back up. Everything just started looking a little bit more normal again, and now it's been, you know, a few more days and everything seems to be back to normal. I gained like 1,000 followers in like 2 days, and now I'm at 197,000, which is long overdue. Normally I would have been at that a long time ago. So obviously something was wrong, but this is just a cautionary tale for you guys, you know, just so that everyone knows about shadow ban. So I don't, you know, really know if it's good or bad or what. I just think that they need to kind of perfect the system so that people like me are not getting screwed over when we're using the correct hashtags, you know, plus size model or, you know, BBW and things like that. Because yes, those terms are used at times, you know, in a porn fetish setting or in a porn fetish manner, but also it's just a term that helps us identify ourselves and helps us have a place, you know. Like, I am a BBW, I'm a big beautiful woman. That's how I, you know, it's I don't identify as the fetish version of a BBW, but at the same time, there's really nothing wrong with that term, in the sense that the real, what it stands for is big beautiful woman, and I have no problem being called that. I just don't like the idea of being banned from posting because other people are misusing it and using Instagram for different purposes. So I guess in that sense, Instagram is just doing what they have to do. Alright, I'm using a flat brush and I'm going back into that gold color from the NATASHA DENONA palette and just packing that on my lid. I'm going to use this STILA Magnificent Metals, the gold color. You guys know this is like my jam, like nothing compares to this. So I'm just gonna pat that in. This Hourglass bronzer, you guys know I've been using this for so long. With this MAC 135 brush, which is my favorite bronzer brush. I live on these two products like nobody's business. So I don't think like I don't know if I personally like fixed anything with this shadow ban. I think me just bringing awareness to it and asking other people if they were experiencing it probably brought it to Instagram's attention, and they were like, oh, people are starting to like catch on. So maybe that's why, or maybe because I also read online that you have to just tell them like, hey, I'm shadow banned, can you unshadow ban me? And they'll unshadow ban you if they see that you're not a spam account, because, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, physically check every single person that's shadow banned. So I guess if you bring it to their attention, they'll fix it for you. So I don't know if that helps. I also, like I said, I started using like different hashtags that pertain to the photo instead of everything being about plus size this or plus size that. Like, I started using more just general hashtags about, you know, fashion or whatever the case is. And then when I checked again through that shadow ban tester, which I will leave the link for that down below, when I checked through that website, you know, it told me I was okay. So now it's saying I'm no longer shadow banned. I don't know what I personally, or, you know, what I definitively, excuse me, I don't know what I definitively did to fix it, if I did do anything, but that's pretty much what happened. I still am not even sure of what causes it or you know, what defines it. It's kind of like an underground thing, like, you know, no one really talks about it. You kind of have to just research, and then that's how you kind of find out about these things. I'm gonna use my Tom Ford Cream Cheek Color. You guys know I love this so much. It makes it look, you know, dewy, golden, bronzy. It just looks amazing. And then over that, I'm going to use the Marc Jacobs Spotlight Glow Stick, which is literally like a deodorant highlighter stick, on the tip, and just put that over nude. I put my lashes on now. As usual, I'm using the Dodo lashes. You guys know these are my favorites. They're the only ones I use. If you watch my makeup tutorial, you know. If you follow me on Instagram, you're always asking. These are them. Dodo.com, like dodolashes.com. And I will leave all the info because I have a coupon code and everything. I will leave that down below for you guys. Okay guys, it got super dark while I was filming, so I just put my lashes on and my lipstick, and I'm using my phone's, like literally my phone's flashlight. I know this is so ghetto, but I have a lot of things to do and I don't have time to put my light. So yeah, this is the final look. Super, super pretty with the gold, really bronzy, wet looking skin, nude peachy lip. I also added black in my waterline. I used MAC's Feline pencil because it just gives a lot more drama. I wanted it to be like smoky and dark and sexy. And that is the final makeup look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this chatty makeup get ready with me.